go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom! And welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by our friends at Dirty Duck Coffee. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver. And if your coffee sucks, it's not the duck.
So I start my day every single morning. So
with us today from Marquette, Michigan, through California to Memphis, Tennessee, one of the most interesting people I have met in a while. Two of the most interesting people I met have been Katie and now Chris Issac from Ducks Unlimited. I would like to work at DU just to be hanging out in the coffee room and get a visit with these people all day.
Come on.
Chris, how are you, sir?
Morning. I'm great. Great.
So,
how are y'all? Thanks for having me out.
Yeah,
we appreciate you being on here.
Admittedly, my first on-camera podcast experience.
Well, you look great. You look great.
Yeah, you're usually on the back side of it, right?
My fade's okay.
Yeah, you're looking good.
Yeah. Got a tight fade. Yeah, you're used to being on the back side of this thing.
Yeah. Yep.
So your background at Ducks Unlimited, at Ducks Unlimited, what is your exact job title for DU?
AV engineer and podcast producer. So as AV engineer, I oversee all the meeting and conference rooms here. So all the Zoom calls and things that happen with the higher ups in any meetings. Then I travel to the board meetings with a slew of gear and go to hotels, set up all the meeting rooms, and then do the podcast. So the main DU podcast, we have some internal podcasts, and then we're starting a new women's series podcast called DU Ascend, which we're super stoked about.
Who's going to be the host of that?
We have 4 different hosts that are in kind of influencers in the outdoor space, and they're going to be all remote. I'd tell you their names, but I'm horrible with remembering names.
That's okay. I didn't mean to put you on the spot there, but it's not going to be in-house in Memphis. They're going to be like satellite type deals.
Yeah, and we did that on purpose. We wanted to feel quite different than the DU podcast. Give it its own thing.
DU is a cool organization. They got some interesting people. So David and me were talking about you, and David tells me, he goes,
"Oh boy,
that's an interesting cat right there." He goes, "Really interesting." So do you have a Grammy? Is that correct? Or am I wrong on this? An Emmy, a Grammy, an Emmy.
An Emmy, and I would say an Emmy. Everybody around here says I have an Emmy, and the lore behind that has started with. So, are you ready for some history?
Yes.
Are we ready to do all that? So, you said California. Is that because you heard I was in the film industry?
I just assumed, and you know what assuming does. So I'm sure I screwed this all up.
No, it's fine. Thought about going there. It is actually, I spent 8 years in Atlanta as a boom operator for TV and film, and worked on a bunch of stuff. Stranger Things, Watchmen. I did some day playing on Avengers, which just means I was filling in for their main boom op. Walking Dead, I, Tonya was a really fun one. Magic Mike 2 was wild. I did a Chipmunks movie, Chipmunks 4, I think, Road Chip. So that was a fun experience. So for Watchmen, the HBO series, one of our episodes was nominated and picked for an Emmy for basically on location sound. So the sound that gets recorded while it's being filmed. And my boss was great. Douglas Axtell. I didn't know this was a thing, but if you win an Emmy, I guess you can request that your team also gets pieces of paper from the Emmy organization saying, "Hey, thank you for your contribution to this award-winning episode, blah, blah, blah." It's got a Emmy on the letterhead. It's signed by the president of the Emmys, and, delivered on this nice thick piece of paper. So my boss had that sent to me in the mail, and it could be fake. I don't know. So I showed it to my boss here at Clay, and he was like, "Oh, you've won an Emmy."
Yeah, you're an Emmy winner.
That whole our Emmy Award winning podcast producer, Chris Issac, whenever he introduced me. So that hasn't gone away. Everybody still talks about it, which is fine.
Amy messaged me this morning. She's like, listen, just so you know, he's an Emmy winner. I was like, just so you know, Amy, he is the first Emmy winner to come on our show. So we're excited to have him.
Honored to be here. The film industry was a ton of fun, and I had some great experiences and tons of stories. Ultimately, I'm thankful to be where I am now, doing what I do for DU.
So how did Ducks Unlimited come about? Because I mean, you're in Atlanta working, and you're on Stranger Things, and now you're working with Stranger Things at Ducks Unlimited. So
yeah,
I mean, how does that work?
So, well, the industry is exhausting. I was pulling 80-hour weeks. Like on Stranger Things, if we did an overnight, all those night scenes of the boys riding their bikes through the neighborhood, or when Barb gets, abducted by the Demogorgon. Like, we were pulling weeks of overnights, 80 hours, like working 14-hour days plus drive time. And it was just exhausting. And then we'd go from an overnight week to like that following Monday, like have to be back at work at 7 a.m. And so the sleep schedule was erratic. My son was a good bit younger, so I would only see him because of his sleep schedule and school schedule. I wouldn't see him every day, which was miserable. And so my wife and I don't know, 2019, actually, I had the opportunity to come back to Memphis. So we'd lived here previously, and come back to Memphis and do a show called Bluff City Law, which was a NBC TV show. And through that, I hadn't been back to Memphis in 8 years. And so that show allowed me to come back and revisit all my friends that I haven't seen in forever, kind of get reacquainted with the city, which in 8 years, Memphis had changed a lot from 2012 to 2018 or 2019. It had changed a good bit for the better. And my perspective of living in Atlanta, like, it's huge now. And so Memphis suddenly felt like a small town, felt familiar, all the vibes. And I was able to bring my family with me for the 6 months we were filming. And we were like, we need to move back here. How do we get back to Memphis and get out of the film industry and, find a new life for ourselves? So we started talking with friends back here, some of them business owners, and I was able to make a connection with actually one of my sound mentors when I was in college in 2004. He owned a AV sales company and immediately agreed to hire me as a sales guy, salary plus commission, which was there's a lot of security in that. And so we decided to move back, and we moved back to Memphis in March of 2020, and then everything shut down. Mm-hmm. So, and then I did sales for about a year, and during that time, which was miserable, I'm not a sales guy. I hate it. I hate the pitch. I hate asking for money. I love talking about gear and equipment, but when it came time to ask for money, I became a bumbling idiot. And
you're not a closer, is what you're saying.
No, I'm not a closer. Yeah. So one of our guys on staff was working with DU for a quote to overhaul their conference rooms, to update them, modernize them. And during those conversations, they were like, if we're going to update these, we also need somebody who can run them well, because we've never had a AV guy on staff. It's always been IT doing AV, and they've been getting along fine. But if we're going to do this, we need somebody who really knows what they're doing. So my boss, knowing I wasn't happy, was like, hey, Chris, do you want this job? I'm going to recommend you to them. And that was after I had actually just closed a $500,000 church overhaul, the biggest in the company's history. And he's like, do you want this job? I was like, yes, please let me have it. So, also, that was my only sale of the year.
It was a big one, though.
So, yeah, I swung for the fences. And so it took a couple months, but eventually I moved here in September of 2021 and just been happy digging into it. We're getting super busy with all this new content and
oh, they're good company, no doubt about it. So, working on Stranger Things, I watched the first season. I think I got bored with the second one. It's just not. I'm not a science fiction type guy. Andy loves Stranger Things.
Well, it was weird because like I watched the first couple episodes, and then I was kind of like, "Oh, this isn't for me." And then my cousin and brother loved it, and they were talking to me about just how great it is. And I rewatched. I went back to episode 1, season 1. And for whatever reason, that second time through, it just really hooked me. And I binge watched all 4 seasons.
Dude, it's so good. I will say season 2 is my least favorite, and it takes work to get through. But
that's the one where Elle she was out, wasn't she? She was like with the gang or whatever.
I thought that little side story was miserable.
That was a little. They could have done away with that, but I guess they had to figure out a way for her to like make a triumphant return or something like that. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Sure. Season 2 was probably the worst. But what's crazy is like how dark season 4 gets.
So dark. Well, I've been rewatching it with my son, getting ready for season 5, and yeah.
Oh, it's still going.
This will be the last season. Thanksgiving.
Yep, they're done.
What's the kid's name with the jacked up mouth?
He's Dustin on the.
Yeah,
his at Dustin, but his real name is Gaten Atazaro or something. He is the sweetest kid. I mean, all the kids were great, and part of it was season 1. It was like we got the call to do this period TV show with Winona Ryder, so we're like, okay, great, and then all the jokes about pickpocketing or like thefts, That's what it was. It was jokes, and we didn't know what we were doing. And then, like day 1 on set, you're like, okay, this is cool. This is a cool show. And it released, and it blew up. And from a boom operator point of view, I'd never been in the spotlight. I mean, I'd done cool stuff, but I got people saw the credits. They saw my name. They started looking me up on IMDb, started sending me emails and messages like, hey, I'm an aspiring boom op. What would you recommend I do? And other people like, hey, what were your experiences like? So it was this wild moment of just like 0 to hero overnight. Like all of a sudden you worked on this super cool thing that at the time was fun to do. And we were excited about it releasing, but nobody knew, had any idea it was going to be as big as it is.
What's hard with that is whenever you see the kids and they like get older, you know what I mean? Like that first season, like they're cute and cuddly, and I think they're in like junior high or whatever. And then like as the seasons progress, they get older. And it's same with like Harry Potter or any of those shows. You wish that the kids could stay little the whole time, but it's impossible to do.
You have to suspend a little belief there of how they age through high school. Because now they're all like in their 20s. Man, what was crazy is, most of these kids, with the exception of the kid who played Will, they had never been on a film production. They may have had some stage experience, but they found kids that had 0 on-camera acting experience. And so that, I think, really added to like the authentic response, and they were able to mold them into who these characters were.
Wonder what the money is for those kids from season 1 to now 6 to shoot season 5, because they're big stars now.
Huge, especially
Millie Bob.
11 Millie. She's got her own company. She's doing it.
Married to Bon Jovi.
Which one is this?
John Bon
Jovi's son.
Yeah, son.
Yeah.
Which one is she the 6 or whatever?
She's
her name
Elle.
Elle. Yeah, I didn't know the name Elle. Like I said, I just watched the first one, and I did not get into any science fiction, but it drugged me in, and I'm like, what the hell? How do I like this thing? Because it's nothing I would normally watch. And then
you could probably skip season 2 and just go straight to 3.
Well, I watched season 2, and about 2 episodes, I was like, I can't watch. There's a reason I don't watch science fiction crap, so I turned it off. And then, so it lost me. But it was a really good, the first one was a good season. And I don't know.
Well, you know, it's kind of based on history. Like, loosely, the whole premise of mind control, and being able to alter people, like the ultra, like MK Ultra stuff, like that's real. That there's documentaries.
Yes, it is very real,
which is wild.
Yeah, Charles Manson was a part of that MK Ultra whole thing. There's a really good Netflix it's a book. It's called Chaos, but they made it into a Netflix documentary, and it's called Chaos also. But it goes into how Charles Manson was a part of this MK Ultra thing, and they were using the LSD drugs, and they were hoping to create soldiers that could go overseas and do just incredibly, inhumane things, and then not come back and suffer from PTSD or any remorse or anything like that. So it's a weird, that MK Ultra is kind of like the common thread and everything, but it's a really well put together documentary, and the book's really good. I think Jeff's read the book.
It's a very good book, and it goes into depth with. We talked about this on a different podcast, but Charles Manson and the Black Panthers were involved in some stuff. And the FBI and the CIA were working together to exterminate the Black Panthers as one of them, and Malcolm X and a lot of different groups. But they were using people like Charles Manson. But when you read the book, it talks about Charles Manson went to the house where they did all the murders for Helter Skelter like a year before. And he'd been there. And it was just a weird deal because he was wanting to kill someone besides the Tate girl. That they weren't the actual people that they were targeting. They just moved into that house that someone else owned, and I can't remember who owned it anyways. But it's interesting that MK Ultra is completely a real deal, and it all come out of that San Francisco area.
Well, and the Montauk Project. So I was looking it up. I couldn't remember. There's the Montauk Project, kind of the same thing, government experiments, and then the Philadelphia experiment. That's the boat, isn't it?
That's the boat that they made move. Like
time
traveled with it, and a lot of the soldiers on it ended up dying of radiation poisoning.
Wow.
So it's in deep, that MK Ultra is a very deep subject, but so these kids, you're around these kids every day. This is people like me. It's just fascinating to work on a big movie set like this.
Sure.
These young kids, I'm assuming they were pretty humble because they didn't know really what they were doing yet.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Millie was, she's always center of attention. She loved it. She was life of the party, but very naive and sweet. And Gaten was just goofy and, has this real deformity in his mouth with his teeth. So that's a real thing that they incorporated into the show. And then Caleb, he's just, his family was always on set. Strong support system. I had many conversations with his dad, just super cool. Mike, he was cool. You could tell he was a little edgier, and he was kind of a bit of a troublemaker. If there was trouble, he was the one starting it. And then Will was just sweet, shy, quiet. He had done some stuff with Tom Hanks, so he was used to it, but he was still very young.
What a different set to be on from you were on The Walking Dead and Stranger Things.
Yeah.
What a completely different type deal. I bet that was a very interesting deal because I had to block off certain areas where nothing could be normal, I guess, to film.
Yeah, and they did a lot of that South Atlanta and actually found some community suburbs that were abandoned that they were able to they literally just bought them and made them like these communities that you see in the various stages of Walking Dead. What was crazy about Walking Dead is my experience was mostly in what they call second unit. Second unit is like the cleanup crew. They come in, they do all the additional B-roll, a lot of the action, while first unit's like doing all the dialogue and the bulk of the show. So I think half of my time with Walking Dead was like recording the zombies and brains being squished and like all the B-roll of when they're being attacked by zombies. And it was a ton of fun. But it was hot. It was Atlanta outside in the summer. We were in a field, just bugs, and you're sweating. And after 12 hours, you're like, man, I'm done for the day. Oh, we had to be back at 6 a.m. Okay, that's cool.
I like The Walking Dead better before they started CGIing a lot of the zombies. Mm-hmm. Like the first couple of seasons when they were doing like real prosthetics and things like that. I thought it added an element of realism to it. And then later on, a lot of the zombies, you started seeing more like CGI type stuff, you know?
Yeah, they would call it zombie school. And so a lot of these people who are trying to be like career background actors, which are just the people you see in background, they never have dialogue, but they make enough money to kind of sustain their career with hopes of becoming an actor with lines, but they never do. So they would go to basically zombie school, and they would learn how to do zombie sounds and act like them, and then spend hours and hours in makeup and getting prosthetics of either being cut up or parts of their body missing. I remember one time during lunch, we went into the lunchroom, and it's not uncommon to have like dummy zombies just laying around that they would take on and off set. And I go to the table, there's a dummy zombie on the table, and I'm just eating my lunch. And literally, I'd been at the table for like 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden, this zombie starts moving. I mean, scared the shit out of me. I mean, you're already like creeped out by whatever's going on. And this zombie, what I thought was a dummy, was just some extra lying on the table, taking a little nap. And he just gets up and walks away.
What's crazy is we're watching a show. It's a reality TV show. It's pure smut, but it's called The Valley. And one of the guys on it, his job was he made zombie sounds, and he has a closet in his house with blankets put up, and he makes 15 different zombie sounds a day and sends it to The Walking Dead, and that's how he
makes his living.
Makes his living.
I didn't watch Walking Dead at first, and then after everybody around here started watching it, it was off season. I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and watch that. So I watched, and I binge watched 2 seasons like in 3 days. Let me tell you something. I walked outside and I was walking down the alleys for shit, and I was like, what's going to happen if a zombie? And I told Michelle, I said, I'm done with this crap. I said, it's got me thinking outside of my mind here, because I'm starting to worry about these freaking zombies coming down. And it's not real or nothing, but you start looking at an escape route and stuff to get away. Yeah. And I just, it got too much for me. And it's sad.
It doesn't help being around them in person.
It doesn't help.
No. Does not. They're very believable. They do a great job.
And how many people? What's the biggest set y'all would have? Y'all have a couple hundred people on set?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, specifically for Walking Dead, it would be hundreds, and it's like especially when like they would swarm or whatever they would call it, when all the zombies would run up and try to get on the fence. They were everywhere.
What season did you work on The Walking Dead?
They were constantly filming, so I think it was like 4, 5, 6, maybe 7.
So
it was like constant feeder of work, and like if you're in between gigs, you could go work on The Walking Dead, and they always needed somebody. I think they filmed like 9 months a year.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I think they did like 12 episodes in the fall and like 12 episodes in the spring for a while there. I mean, that's
24 is standard TV, or used to be standard TV release schedule. 24 episodes a season, but usually with a break.
So with something like that, where they have like a fall and spring release, do they do all of it at once, or do they film for the fall and then film for the spring?
No, they might take a holiday break, but they're constantly filming, because really, like, they typically take 8 days to film an episode, and then any cleanups. But while they're filming that season, they're recording it. And so depending on the way the schedule falls, you could be filming just a couple episodes out of what's about to air. I think they stayed pretty well ahead of schedule, but there's some network shows that I worked on that like this is airing in a month and we're filming it now. And that's kind of why the reason like TV isn't always the best quality, because it's like it's being compromises are being made because of the timeline. So they're like, oh, it's fine. If a mistake is made or they don't get the best performance from an actor, they'll just kind of muscle through, cut around it, and just get it out.
Days of Our Lives is the one that gets me, because that's 5 episodes a week and it's been going for 78 years. And it's like, how in the hell do they stay on top of Days of Our Lives?
That's mostly stage work.
Oh, really?
I think they have some external stuff, but that's mostly like borderline sitcom stages. They come in, they turn the lights on, they hit record, they go home.
So they're not having to like find locations and everything like you would on The Walking Dead and Stranger Things and stuff like that.
I can't say I've ever seen Days of Our Lives.
I've watched a little bit of it with my grandmother.
But if they're outside, then they're outside somewhere. But it's probably somewhere close to, a lot of these, they're probably the LA stages, which are close to everything. So they don't have to go far. And sometimes it's backlots. I mean, these stages in LA have literally like town streets built that they can go film on. They're just facade buildings, just the front of it. Maybe you walk into a little room if you go through the door, but once you're in that room, they cut to a stage set.
What I can't get my head around is why any parent would want their kid to be a child star. Like, we've seen enough of these child actors that just go off of the rails in their late 20s and 30s. Like, why would any parent push that onto their kid?
Because they missed out.
I guess.
It's like,
right?
It's the pageant mom thing. It's like they see an opportunity. Sometimes it's selfish, unfortunately. Other times, as a parent, you want to help your child pursue their passions.
Yeah.
So like Caleb's parents, again, like they had such a tight-knit family, and they were very supportive. They were always involved in what he was doing. And those situations work out. I was getting texts from film workers who were working on season 4 saying, hey, the kids are mentioning you. Caleb says hi. Like I would see Caleb every so often after I did season 1, just on different sets. And he's just always the nicest, always excited to see me, say hi. Because, for them, that's a foundational core memory, season 1. It's like, it's special to everybody. And so there's a neat connection there. But, the parent thing, you have to, just like anything, raise them right and teach them to be grateful and polite, and they'll figure the rest out.
Yeah. Like you said, though, have a good foundation, but it's just, I don't know, there's just so many horror stories in Hollywood or, the music industry.
It's a tough lifestyle. I mean, so when these kids are on set, they have to go to school, right? So they could go their whole life never being in a real school, but they're in a trailer being taught by a hired teacher to fulfill their curriculum requirements. So they're basically homeschooled, but not as robust of a program as you'd think homeschooling is.
I just can't imagine. Like you said, you got 12-hour days on set, and it's like, oh, by the way, you got to go finish your Spanish project.
Yeah. Well, kids have harder restrictions. They can only work a certain amount of time. If you're under 18, it's built into the contract that you can only work this many total hours, plus you can only work this many hours at a time, and then you need to go break for school.
The Judy Garland rules.
I was going to say Macaulay Culkin.
No, they had to put some stuff in after. Was it Judy Garland? Which one was? Yeah, it's Judy Garland that was in Wizard of Oz. Man, if you read any of this a book about that and all the stuff that they put that little girl through for that show, it's ridiculous.
Oh,
I would.
Yeah, like the Wild Wild West.
I wouldn't want my child being an actor for nothing. Limelight is not good for kids. Matter of fact, I would like to know what the statistics are on people that were child actors that have a good life as they get older without being strung out on drugs or problems. It's got to be terrible.
Yeah, well, there's some, I won't say who, but there was a kid on the show who had, he wasn't a kid. He had some drug issues, and I think he was coming back to America for the premiere, and he couldn't get back into America. I think they found drugs on him or something. But I saw a neat interview with Mike. I wish I could remember the kid's real name. I just know them. But Mike, he's an adult now, and he's in a band and performing, and it was basically him saying, like, I'm still trying to find out who I am, because so much of my time growing up, I'm Mike and I'm on set. And so who am I now? And it was a really neat interview, and it felt very hopeful, like he's in the right direction. But yeah, these kids, your identity on set is kind of becomes who you are. And then the show's done. It's like, what do I do now?
Yeah. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. had a bad life for a long time. He finally grew up and got his shit together, and he's got a good life now. And he's a survivor. But
but he was also smoking weed with his dad at the age of like 10.
Yes, horrible.
So
and Drew Barrymore,
that has nothing to do with the industry. He just had a shit parent.
No, but all those kids, because they're subjected to all that stuff. Drew Barrymore the same way, and there's so many of them that. Well, I think her life now today is a little bit better, but she's going to parties at 12 years old. You don't. Yeah. It's just not a good environment for a child. Everybody wants their child to be famous, and I get that, but statistically, I would rather my kid not be that and turn out to be a cardiologist than to be a child actor. I just really worry about the kind of life because it's just a horrible lifestyle around them. Who's the biggest jackass you've met as a star?
You can't answer that.
Oh, I will. I don't mind, because
I know this answer. He told me this already.
John C. McGinley. And
he's going to Google him now to figure out which one he is.
He's the guy from Scrubs, the TPS report guy, and Office Space, the movie. He would probably consider himself professional, because I saw how he interacted with producers and like the important people. He has a very professional repertoire, but when it came to crew members and sometimes even other actors, he like had zero humanity. So on a sound team, on a film sound team, there's three people. There's the mixer, there's the boom op, and there's the sound utility. And the mixer owns all the gear and is the department head. The boom op's the guy on set who's really figuring out how to cover each scene, how to get the dialogue, what the camera angles are, how do we put a mic on their body? Do we hang a mic above them? Do we hide a mic on the set somewhere? And then there's the sound utility who kind of makes those things, assists in making those things happen. And they do auxiliary things. They do kind of administrative things. They're called in as second boom op sometimes when we need a second stick on the set. And so on this show, because the shots were always crazy and it was always hard to figure out what's going on, our utility took over wiring the talent, putting the hidden mics on them, which are usually, hidden between somewhere on their shirt. So if you're ever watching a show and you see like a little bump or a third nipple, that's probably a microphone. It wasn't hidden very well. It drives my wife crazy. I can't turn it off or watch something I see his mic.
There's his mic.
Yeah. There's a reflection. I see the boom up in the reflection. play it back. She's like, shut up. Just let me enjoy the show.
Yeah.
So all that to say, our utility went to wire John, or remove his wire that I had wired earlier. And I kind of had taken over wiring John because he was difficult, and he was cool with me. I didn't feel the need to talk to him. I would literally walk up to him. He would pull his shirt apart, and I would, without saying anything, I would just throw his wire on, hide it, get it stuck on, and then walk away. So I this particular day I couldn't take the wire off, and so I sent our utility to do it, and he had just eaten like a handful of peanuts or something. So he goes up, he says, hey, Mr. John, I'm going to take your wire off. So he goes to the shirt, starts to pull it off, and John just smacks his hand and says, good God, man, what did you just eat? And just walks away.
Peanuts.
But like, that was not an uncommon thing. He referred to his staff wardrobe person as like girl. Whenever you need, where's girl? I need a new shirt.
I see the guy now, and he does the characters he plays. Like, I could see him being a dick.
He looks like a dick.
Yeah. And I don't feel that way about many people. I'm fairly easygoing, but he really pushed some buttons. And he's not the kind of guy you couldn't really confront any actor because they're top of the food chain on a set. But man, he was something. So went back to me just having be the only one who could touch him, wire him, interact with him, because I really wouldn't. He knew what I was there for. He would let me do my job, and I would walk away.
And you didn't eat peanuts before you approached him, so that was probably a big thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You hear about guys that are, you hear a lot about the guys that are dicks, and then you hear, I was watching a deal or reading about John Candy recently. John Candy, they said, was absolutely excellent to the people that were working on the sets. Like,
sure,
they were filming Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It was real cold somewhere, and some of the people didn't have coats and stuff, and he went and bought 100 coats to give to the people on set, and had a food truck come in on his own money and have hot meals for him and stuff. Just a good person.
Yeah.
And those guys that have a lot of money, it's not hard to be good and kind to people. And there's no reason to be a dick like this guy is.
Well, their ego gets inflated because, like you said, they're almost this untouchable status on set, and they're like, who gives a shit? Like, I'm not going to get fired.
Yeah.
I mean, some people just aren't nice. It
That's
doesn't
true.
matter like what they've done or what experiences they've had that have puffed up their ego. Like, some people just aren't nice, and I just don't think.
What's the nicest one you've been around?
So there's one, like, he comes to set, and he's in this scene with this woman who's supposed to be playing his, it was a flashback playing his dead wife, or his wife that had passed, and flashback scene. And he gets on set, and after they're done rehearsing, he goes to produce, and I think in front of her, it's like, I would never marry a woman like this. She's too old. She's not. So they go cast a new wife to be in that scene that day. I mean, how awful would you feel as the woman hired to play this role? I'd never seen that happen. That had never happened before. That was the only time I experienced something like that. Like, oh my gosh.
What about the fat chick that's got to play a fat chick in a role they make fun of? Like in Shallow Hal was all CGI, right? That chick really, that wasn't really enough. They didn't have like that was
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Okay, so they didn't bring a fat chick in on that. But like, I was watching Old Sanford and Son the other day, and they were making fun of this fat girl, and they were making fun of her on the show, talking about her and stuff. And I thought, actually, Michelle told me, she goes, "Don't you feel sorry for that girl? Because she knew the role and she read it, and she goes, they're just gonna make fun of her for being fat the whole time." I thought, well, she's getting paid a lot of money to do it, so she probably don't care.
It's so much money. Yeah, and a lot of times, what you don't see is like all the outtakes of them laughing, trying to deliver the lines, or she's laughing, receiving these lines, because they make it like they know it's just the script. And like you said, if you're looking to audition for that role, I mean, that's on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Jeff's not going to go enroll for some guy to be. I wasn't going to be a Magic Mike dancer, Now, if you needed the fat guy that was going to be mopping the floor, that'd be the role I would be auditioning for. I'd be like, oh, that's my spot right there. I'm not dancing on stage.
Right.
But the outtakes are great. I watched a bunch of outtakes on Seinfeld the other day. Guy Kramer was hilarious, regardless. Oh, he was great.
Now,
that show was great.
As the boom operator, what are some of your bigger boo-boos that you can remember from your career as like a boom operator?
Oh.
Did you ever hit anybody with it or have it in the shot?
Yeah. It's almost unavoidable. And especially starting out. So I'll tell you my kind of genesis of this industry was we left Memphis in 2012 and moved to North Carolina to be closer to family, to raise our son around family. And we moved there. We didn't have jobs. Like, we tried, but nothing worked out. We lived with my wife's parents for a month or so. And it was literally within 3 weeks of moving there, I meet the Godfather sound mixer in the town who had kind of given every sound guy their shot. He was looking for a new utility, and within a week of meeting him, I'm on a major film set in a union role, working. And that is an engine story not many people have in the film industry. Usually they slug it out for years trying to get this opportunity to either be on screen or be in the union. And so, because this guy was so desperate for crew because he had burned through everybody else, he started getting these what are called two-man crews, second unit, two-man, which really means there's zero dialogue. Sound isn't really important, but because it was a network television show, they like to sneak these things in and nickel and dime you. And so they're like, oh, it's a two-man crew, there will be no dialogue. So you show up, there's like 3 pages of dialogue. And it was a tough show to shoot. I mean, they would be in tricky sets to navigate with a 18-foot pole, and I had no idea what I was doing. And this guy's like, oh, it's fine, just I'll teach you what you need to know. It was basically trial by fire. But because I had a sound background, because I had a good ear, because I had a strong work ethic, I figured it out. I would talk to these camera operators, and I would be like, how do you know what size lens you're looking at? And so one operator specifically gave me this great reference point. If the camera has a 50 mil lens on and your talent's standing 5 feet away, it's going to be about a waist shot, from their waist to their head. If it's 100 mil lens, and they're standing 10 feet away, it's about a waister. A 25 mil lens at 2.5 feet, it's about a waist. So I was like, okay, I can get with that. And then I learned out, you figure out the set dynamics, best place for boom ops to stand. It's usually always changing, but next to camera, it's the best. And but through all those figuring it out moments, there were so many times I was in the shot, right? I didn't learn. You got to work the shot out with the camera operator beforehand. And if you do that and you're still in the shot, it's most likely because the operator changed something, at which point it's on him because you already tried to work it out. But yeah, so those first few years, I made a lot of mistakes. I would bump actors in the head. There's one specifically on NBC's Revolution, the two-man crew thing. We were outside. It's windy. We're doing what's called a walk and talk, and I'm having to walk backwards. So there's 5 actors walking through, this post-apocalyptic amusement park, and I'm walking backwards. My pole's fully extended, and so a fully extended boom pole with a mic on the end, wind protection, like that gets heavy.
Yeah.
To carry and walk backwards. And the thing's shaking, right? It's carbon fiber. It's not stiff, but anyways, so I'm walking backward. You know, you have your arms over your head, and I'm trying to look backwards to see where I'm going, but then keeping my eye on the action. And I look away, and my arm dips, and I get in the shot and tap one of the actresses on the head. And that was like my first moment of touching an actor with the boom pole, and it's quite embarrassing. And it was actually her name. She was a big actress in Lost. Her Lost name was Juliet. She was one of the others who was, in the research facility. So I always called her Juliet because I didn't know what her real name was. So
yeah,
I was. Anyway, so that, and there are many other instances. I actually, it happened on Stranger Things too. The first time we ever see Hopper, the first time David Harbour comes on set, it's during this chaotic scene where he comes to tell Joyce that he's found Will, and it's chaotic in the house. They're moving around. Joyce is upset. We have all the crew members in there, and the living room's a very small area, shallow ceilings. I have our utility in there running second boom to cover all the dialogue and the spacing. So usually I can, if you're on a boom pole with these shotgun mics, you can navigate a group of people pretty easily if you know the dialogue, because the mics have a pretty far pickup range. But it was like they were separated in the room, so I'm covering one side, our dude's covering the other. Hopper comes storming through the front door, and again, I look away, I dip down, and I tap his head, and he just shouts expletives and finishes the scene and walks off set. So I hadn't met him yet. And usually as a boom op, I try to introduce myself to actors so they know who's around them, what's going on. And I hadn't had that opportunity. So immediately after he walks out, I follow him. He goes, sits in his chair. I introduce myself. I apologize. He's super cool. It's all good. He's like, don't do it again. Yes, sir. You got it.
But
do it again.
But it's like, you know what? You're going to screw up some of your lines, and I'm not going to freak out that I got to stand here and record you dicking up your lines. You know what I mean? Have a little bit of humanity.
Yeah. I mean, he was cool about it.
No.
There was one all those instances were pretty forgivable. But there was one instance I was working on this Oprah Winfrey show called, I don't remember what it was called. It was for her network. Love something or other. And again, mistakes always happen when when productions start pushing the timeline, pushing you to shoot, pushing you to roll, like get ready, like let's hurry up, we're running out of time, we got to wrap this up, and mistakes get made. And we were in this it was a writer's room set, and it was a super long, skinny room. Everybody's bunched up in one side. There's like 3 cameras. I was the only boom op, but I had to be full stick because the room was so long, and I'm trying to navigate, like covering all these people. And we're in between setups. I have my boom kind of like tucked down because I'm making adjustments with my kit. And but I hadn't taken my pole down, so it's still 18 feet out there. And one of the dolly grips is doing his thing, doing his job, but because it's such tight quarters, he slams into my hand that was holding the end of the pole, and it's just like it just whipped that boom into the side of an actress's head, and I'm like, I'm gonna be fired. This is like, she had a welt. The doctor had to come see her.
Oh my goodness.
I was so embarrassed. And I basically just dropped the whole thing and go run up to her and make sure she's okay, like profusely apologizing. not even trying to explain the situation because it's like it doesn't matter how it happened. Just matters that it happened, and it's very embarrassing. I haven't told these stories to a lot of people, so now
I gotta imagine these. You gotta really hit somebody to leave a whelp on their head with a boom mic.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't have to remind it, Andy.
No, I'm just trying to think like how hard would I'm looking at this Shure microphone. How hard would I have to hit you upside the head?
If you hit me with this metal part, not as hard as you
with
think.
The metal part, yeah, but not with this foam part.
It's like a slingshot, not a slingshot, but the further your pole gets extended, the more wobbly it becomes. Mm-hmm. And so you could just move the end of your pole just an inch, but at the end it's swinging like this.
I'm not getting slapped in the face.
Yeah.
So did you ever have to, this is going to be really weird, but it's got to be awkward when there's a lovemaking scene and you're doing one of those.
100%.
I mean, I don't care who you are. That to me would be so awkward. Even for the actors and actresses. I mean, that would be weird to me.
Yep. It is. And a lot of the times they close the set, they turn off the camera feeds, and it's like minimal crew members. Whenever I could, I would try to plant a mic. Either put it in a stand or hide it on, whatever they're doing it on, and get out of there. I'd have to keep my headphones on to monitor. Like that's my job.
Is there some awkward conversations in there?
I mean, that sometimes it's they try to make it funny before they start rolling because everybody's awkward. There were some scenes I was like, oh, they're probably doing this in their trailer after the day's done. Definitely a connection. Yeah, it's awkward, but it's unavoidable. I mean, yeah.
Just get that boom in there.
Are you familiar with Blue Mountain State?
Yeah.
I did the movie.
Oh, really?
Like or whatever. And that is one of the most debaucherous movies I've ever been a part of. They had like models on set and they would get them naked. And I went up to the director. I was like, I don't want to be in here. I'm just going to leave a mic. There was no dialogue. Like, I'm going to leave a mic and walk out. He's like, that's fine. So that was a movie I regret working on. It was also like the start of my career. It was paid pretty well. It was an opportunity. I mean, most of the movie was just stupid and shooting, stupid stuff. But there were a few scenes I was like, no, I'm out. I can't be part of this. I'm going to leave my mic on set and go eat some food.
I don't know how as an actor, that would be a tough gig or an actress. But could you imagine rolling in the hay with Margot Robbie and you're not supposed to get excited? And then you got a wife. How do you explain that for a wife?
You got to pay the bills, babe.
If your wife, if Jesse did this for a living, you would have a hard time with this. Who wouldn't? That would be 100%. Hard. I mean, I don't know how you could not be. If you was married to Halle Berry and you saw her and Billy Bob Thornton in Monster Ball, that's a
or Ali Larder and Landman with Billy Bob Thornton.
Yes, well, Billy Bob Thornton's got a fun job.
He does, but she's a wife and 2 or 3 kids, and
there's mom on TV.
She had Landman.
I guess it would be better for your mom to be doing that than to be Kim Kardashian in her films. So it'd be a little different thing there.
I guess
it's weird.
That was Alan Ritchson's. That was his breakout role. He's Reaper. Is it Reaper? Reacher. Yeah, Reacher.
I'll tell you, I guarantee you he's a different person now. I mean, the guy who he was, and what was this? This was 2013, 2014. The man that he was on set back then, or the child he was on set, I mean, he was a man-child to what I've seen him become and interviews I've read about him. He's a completely different person. He's grown up and found a solid identity. But I heard they're about to do another Blue Mountain State, and I'm just like, what are you doing?
Are you putting your name in the hat for that?
No.
No.
What is
stay
Blue
away.
Mountain State about? I saw it the other day on Amazon Prime.
And football and
I think it was a TV show that got canceled, had so much popularity, they were able to crowd fund a movie. It's kind of got a cult following, but it's stupid, debaucherous comedy, I guess.
You got to pay.
I've never seen the show, and I never watched the movie. I just did the gig, and then I was like, I don't want anything else to do with this.
Is that common that you will not watch your projects, or do you like to watch them back?
I usually don't, because I know it's not good.
Oh,
it's not something I enjoy. Just like I would work on The Resident a lot, which was a network TV show.
A great show.
But I didn't care for it, partially because I worked on it and I can't turn it off. Like, so the main guy, the super cool doctor, who's like, he's got a really deep voice and he always whispers and like, I'm having to record this, and I'm like, dude, I can't hear you talking. So half his lines he had to go re-record in the studio.
Is this the older guy?
I don't know, the main guy with the short hair and all the jewelry, looked like a biker doctor.
This is the one with Malcolm and Jamal Warner was in it also, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great show. That there's the hot blonde, it's a nurse, is dating the guy that's the doctor.
That guy.
The doctor guy, the guy that is the vet, I guess the Desert Storm vet and stuff. You know what's cool?
He hadn't watched the show, Jeff. He doesn't know.
Okay, the guy that plays that kid's dad.
My family raved about it, and I'm like, I don't know how you guys like this.
Great, it's a great show. The guy that plays that guy that you're talking about, the gentleman that plays his dad in that show is like a super wealthy guy. He's in everything on Netflix now. Matter of fact, I'm watching City on the Hill right now, which was filmed like 3 or 4 years ago with Kevin Bacon in Boston. And I like it. I think it's a really good series. He's in that show now, but every time I turn on Netflix, it's the same guys, or Amazon Prime. Streaming has been really good for a lot of actors. They're making good living that'll be on 2 or 3 different series a year doing different things. What's your favorite streamings? Not streaming. What's your favorite series that's been on TV?
I've watched or
that you've liked to watch, like The Sopranos and The Wire are to me the greatest series ever.
You know, I would rather not watch TV, but I watch TV with my wife at nights and just kind of veg out. So I honestly don't remember a lot of. I'll watch series, and then I'll have no record. Like, somebody will ask me, "What are you watching?" I'm like, I don't really know. I did watch Severance. Severance was really good. It's super weird. I like stuff. If I'm gonna watch it, I want it to be like weird and intriguing, and a cool storyline, or just like mindless action.
So, like, you'd enjoy Wedding Crashers?
No, I don't actually like comedies.
Oh, that's what I watch more than. Well, I like to watch anything history related.
Mm-hmm.
If it's history, like I just got done watching Ben Franklin, the show about him, and that's a very good series.
I love all the Nat Geo stuff.
I like some of that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a weird show that I really enjoy is called Aerial America. Have you seen that, where they just film it all with drones? And it's on Discovery Channel or something. But they go, or Net Geo, maybe about what it is. But they just go to towns, like they'll go to Memphis and they'll do it all with drones for aerial, and they'll talk about certain things in town. And I love it. And they go to all 50 states, and then they've got cities they go to.
Do they have hosts, like you can see people, or is it literally just aerial footage?
All aerial footage. But it's really interesting because you get a different view of every place.
But nobody's talking on this show.
Yeah, you've watched Aerial America.
I can't remember.
Yeah, but
somebody's narrating.
It's narrated, yes, but it's a really cool deal. They'll be like, I like it. We travel a lot, so I like to see a lot of places we've been. But like they'll be at Memphis and they'll talk about the pyramid, and they'll talk about the Mississippi River, and they'll have Graceland on there, and they'll have Beale Street. But it's from way above. It's not like driving like like your eye view walking down the deal. It'll be from like 3 or 4 stories up, but they'll go over Beale Street and they'll be like, this is where B.B. King cut his first album, and it's really interesting if you like American history.
Okay.
It's a different view, but it's a whole different concept of any show I've watched, but it's called Aerial America. And so different.
My wife and I actually watch our like one guilty pleasure show is Love is Blind.
Mm-hmm.
Which one is that?
It's this Netflix show where they're all in cubicles and they're getting to know each other without knowing what they look like or talking about their physical attributes. And you can only leave the cubicle if you get a proposal engagement. It's so bad.
Well,
it's one of those shows I can literally like turn off my mind and just like enjoy the drama.
My wife watches Love Island, so I think Love is Blind is probably a step up above Love Island. I come in the bedroom or whatever, and what in the hell are you watching, lady?
What's it about?
It's just all these good-looking people on an island, and
it's like an MTV show.
They're basic. It's on Peacock. I don't know what network.
So it's a hookup show.
Yeah, it's just good-looking people, and they're all hooking up, and it's Love Island. You're going to try to find your soulmate by hooking up with 15 other people to make sure they're your soulmate.
See, I'm old. I watched Love on a Spectrum with the people that's got Down syndrome and stuff.
Autism
is what it is. I love that show. It's great.
That's amazing.
Now, how sensitive are these microphones that are on the booms? Like if you've got 2 people, in a room, like how close do you have to have it to the person that's talking for it to register like good quality that you're needing?
Yeah, I mean, in general, closer is the better.
Right.
But there's a lot involved in that answer, but most simply, they make different mics for different situations. And usually the longer the mic looks, the longer its reaches. So when we're inside, because of acoustics and things like that, we tend to use shorter mics. They sound more natural. They make the voices in the natural room reverb sound more natural. But if you're outside when there's a lot of less reflections and acoustic reflective surfaces, you can use longer mics. And there's a mic called the 814. It's literally like I don't know, what's it, like 2.5 feet, 3 feet long. I mean, this mic is gigantic. And I've been in situations where the camera's like up on a crane, 40 feet in the air. The actor, it's a super wide shot. The actor's like 40 feet away. I'm just holding this microphone beneath the camera on the ground, pointed at the actor 40 feet away. And you hear his dialogue. It's incredible.
Wow. That's crazy.
And now it makes sense for like you're seeing a wide shot, so the audio sounds wide. The audio wouldn't work if it was close up, but like contextually it works because there's enough clarity that you understand what they're saying, and it sounds closer than it looks. Even that's how sensitive it is. But yeah, it's incredible. The technologies of how they do these different and the way that it's so long, it's called a rejection tube, and it has these slots. And I mean, that's where I kind of lose understanding of how the acoustics actually work, the physics of that. But it's amazing.
Yeah, because so whenever like you're filming in like a house or whatever, do y'all come in on the beforehand and like soundproof everything? Like if it's like just like a regular house and not a set or anything like that, the acoustics aren't there. The production team found a house that's going to work, and it's like, hey, you gotta shoot Stranger Things in this living room.
Yeah, we'd only do that usually like in a bathroom or a kitchen. Mm-hmm. I remember once on the Chipmunks movie, the kitchen was just so echoey. So many like reflective surfaces, like hard countertops, like really hard wood cabinets, and you just walk in and it's just like your voice just gets louder because it's so echoey. So for that, we would like we call them Fernie pads, but they're like moving blankets. Mm-hmm. We would get a whole ton of them, and when whatever direction we weren't looking in, we would line the back of the set with blankets to try to cut down on reflection. So yeah, we'll do it sometimes. Sometimes you don't have time because it takes a while to do it well. And honestly, like technology with the software and stuff to remove reverb and isolate the voice is incredible these days. Now, that being said, you want to do it the best you can on set, but understanding what they can and can't fix, I think is a strength nowadays.
Right. AI is crazy right now. My mom, for our YouTube series, she had to record something on her phone, and there was like wind or crowd noise or something, and my cousin, who's doing everything, the production side of everything, put her audio into AI and told it what he wanted removed, and crystal clear.
Wow. That's cool. I haven't heard of a program where you can tell it what you want. I use Adobe has this enhance web-based software. You just upload the audio file in it, and it fixes everything. You have a slider, so you can choose how much you want fixed or blended with the fixed signal, and I use it so much. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. I mean, I keep hearing about all the jobs that AI is going to take over, and I mean, even if you rewind the clock a couple years, I'm sure there was somebody whose job it was to, like, it was hard to remove background noise and wind and chat and crowd noises, and now it's built in the software, and it's a slider.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it used to be movies used to literally rebuild every sound you'd see, or every sound aspect that you'd want to hear by what you're seeing. They would just rebuild it all. Sometimes even the vocals, they just redo them all. So everything you got on set was like a scratch track. But nowadays, things are so good. Yeah, like you said, it's they can fix it later. And most of the dialogue's usable, even in like these extreme situations.
So whenever you were talking about On the Resident and the guy's voice being so low that the boom wasn't picking it up, and then he had to go back and redo the lines. How do they just match it to what his lips are saying? Like, how does that work?
It's called looping. And so what they'll do, they'll go into the studio that's set up for looping, and like in our studio right now, like I see a TV in front of me that's showing myself, unfortunately. But they'll play that clip. And so they'll give the opportunity, they'll have the original track for reference so the actor can hear the inflections, all the things they were doing. And then they just try to copy it. They say the line over and over again until they've got the cadence down, the inflection, and then they'll use that take and replace the original. So they're able to see what's happening.
Right. Right. Yeah. I was going to say, it's got to be hard to do, just like you said, like a different cadence. Like you can just barely be off and it will sound different than it looks.
I mean, you can take a WAV file and chop it up and stretch and condense words and stuff. But it's ultimately just much easier to have them redo it to what they're watching.
Right.
It's hard to believe that. And the Residents, that was made in Atlanta, right? Atlanta, they do a lot of movies. Did you ever work with Tyler Perry on any of his stuff?
No. That was that was where people went to get into the industry, and if you didn't have a job, you'd go work there. And I don't want to disparage Tyler Perry at all. Like, he did some really cool things for the industry, but the rates weren't always the best. The work, they were just hammering out content, right? So it was fast. They would have like 4 to 5 boom operators on set sometimes, because most of their stuff they do is set work. I mean, they'll do movies, and I'm sure they might produce those a little differently, but a lot of the stuff Tyler did was like stage productions, more or less. And so they'd have a boom operator on each corner of the stage. They have their quadrant. They're required to, but they'd also wire everybody. So sometimes you're having to put like 16 wires out, and the amount of equipment you had to deal with and upkeep. And I never wanted to. It's just a different vibe.
When you're doing Stranger Things and you did like the street side where the kids are riding the bikes and stuff, that's got to be a pain in the ass to record all that, as opposed to being in a studio.
That's where we kind of lean in. That's where we lean into body mics. But a lot of times, those there were some where I'm sitting on basically the back of a golf cart, and the camera's next to me, and I got my boom pole 18 feet out, like moving it around, sitting down, trying to boom these kids on bikes. It was really tough.
When y'all are filming weather stuff, like in the rain and stuff, are y'all actually waiting for it to rain, or is it man-made stuff?
You're smarter than that, Jeff.
No, I know they do a lot of stuff in regular weather, though.
You're smarter than that.
They do. Most of the time, it's man-made. Do you remember that scene in Stranger Things where the boys first find Elle?
Yeah, in the rain. Yep.
Yeah, that almost broke my boom pole, because so in addition to, like, when there's wind, you put a fur on that reduces the wind, but when there's rain, you have this whole other setup that's a good bit heavier, and they were just, the rain was heavy, and I know the enclosure I had for the mic was working right, but it was just holding so much water. My usually boom pole, they're straight. I think mine was like almost like bent in half, almost looked like a U. I was like, this is it. My boom pole's gonna break.
It's gonna snap right here.
Yeah, but most of the time they control their weather.
Was it controlled then, or did they get lucky and it was raining that night?
Oh no, sorry, it was very much controlled. They ran these big metal pipes up trees and had basically sprinklers on the top.
Right.
And so when they called action, they'd call for the water would turn on, and you'd just see these streams of water coming out like 20 feet in the air, covering the whole area.
My thing that drives me crazy, you were talking about picking out microphones. I hate whenever I'm watching something and it's like a rainy scene, but you can see shadows in the background, or see, a little bit of sunlight on a tree or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, what the hell? Come on. I don't know why. Yeah. That's the thing that gets me.
What is it now?
If it's raining, if it's a rainy scene or whatever, if it's rarely happens on like snow scenes, but like if it's raining, you see in the background, you see like a tree that's got sunlight on it.
Yeah, so it's not raining there.
Right.
I watched the original Halloween with my grandkids the other day. The original one with Jamie Lee Curtis. Had to fast forward a couple of scenes where some boobs were out. But I had read that they were on such a tight budget, they had to keep recycling their fall leaves. So I watched that, and sure enough, whatever scene that yard was in, the yard they were looking at would have leaves all over it. The neighbor's yard's got green trees and green grass, and then it would come to it. And I noticed it the whole time, and they said that during the set that they would have people run and get garbage bags and grab all the leaves they could so they could go to the next place. Because I think they filmed it like in late summer.
But and in L.A.
Was it filmed in L.A.?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But they had to keep, throwing the leaves on the ground. It's
supposed to be Illinois on Halloween, and kind of hard to do in L.A. What a masterpiece that is, though.
Like Hallmark comes to Memphis and will film winter movies here in the summer with fake snow, and they have everybody in winter clothing.
Gotta be hotter than hell. Woo. Son of a gun.
That'd be brutal.
That's
but
what you do.
You gotta pay the bills, people.
But why don't they just film them in the winter?
Because it's got to come out in the winter.
Yeah, it's cheaper. They don't want to film it that year in advance.
So they film it all in the summer to be. So the films that they're filming right now in Memphis, are they going to come out this fall or next fall? Or winter?
They would probably come out this. I mean, they want a fast turnaround on their investment. So as soon as they can release it, I think is what they shoot for.
That makes sense. Because you got all this money going out. You don't want to sit on it for a year. I gotcha.
Right. What cost it?
Well, we don't have anything filming right now, but I wanted to say this earlier. Like, I just saw an article that's basically saying 80% of productions that are currently happening now are happening overseas.
Mm-hmm.
Because of how expensive it's gotten to film here. That I was talking to a assistant director friend, and one of his productions just shut down in the middle of production, moved overseas.
Who was it that flew their whole? Somebody flew to Ireland to film something.
Rob Lowe, I'm looking it up. Rob Lowe said it's cheaper to bring a crew of 100 people to Ireland than it is to walk across the set in L.A., walk across the lot in L.A. So he's got some game show that they're filming, and they're doing it all in Ireland because they can't afford,
The Rob Lowe one? I
Yes.
love that game show. My son loves it, so I'll watch it with him. There's like 100 people on the floor, and you basically have your expertise, and you go up and you battle, and you have to, and you eliminate people. You get their square, and the winner of whoever has all the squares gets like $100,000 or something.
I haven't seen it. What's it on?
I thought it was Netflix.
It might be. I don't know. But yeah, they're filming all that in Ireland just because it's too expensive in L.A.
Are you familiar with that show called The Link with the big heavy set guy? Smart as hell. And he'll team up 4 people against him. And it's a trivia type stuff. And
Wow.
he's smart dude. And that's filmed over in England somewhere. He's an English fella, but he is very, very, very smart. I always watch and I think, boy, I bet I could go against him. And then about 3 minutes in, I'm like, boy, I'd be broke some bitch already. He's smart. Woo. But it's a shame that we can't film shows here anymore, hardly at all. I mean, Taylor Sheridan, they film a lot of Yellowstone and 4.6s right next to us. You can walk out my door and you can see the 4.6s ranch. So that's why. So they film a lot of stuff out here, but he's pretty smart because they film here, and I think he's got a ranch in Bosque County, and they film a lot of Landman in Fort Worth and Aledo, Mineral Wells, and Weatherford, but it's all local type stuff. But if it wasn't for him, I mean, he's put a ton of money back into Texas, but he does a lot of his stuff here.
And it does really well. So it's like the studios, I'm sure, kind of give him a blank check because they know it's going to perform.
Everything he does is good.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That I watched that Tulsa. Is it Tulsa King? Is that the one with Sylvester Stallone? And I thought this is going to be so cheesy. Hell, I liked it. It was, and I like Landman a lot. It's kind of a little out on some of the things, but I really enjoy it. But everything he touches is huge. I don't watch Yellowstone anymore. Are they fine? Are they done with it? Or are they still going to have another season or so on it?
I'm not sure.
I don't know, but I know they're doing spinoffs. My wife's watched a few of like the prequel spinoffs to Yellowstone, and they're really good.
Have you watched 1923?
No.
I love that one with Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I caught some episodes. Some of that stuff they portray is gritty. I mean,
it was tough life.
Back then must have been horrible.
Yeah, I mean, like Andy said this 1,000 times. The wealthiest person in 1910, life sucked compared to someone living just above poverty in America right now. I mean, when it just comes to the comforts of being at a home.
For sure.
And you can imagine in the 1700s what it must have been like. Matter of fact, on Franklin, he gets a kidney stone. And I'm assuming he really had one in 1780. Imagine having a kidney stone in 1780 would be a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, did they even know what it was?
They called it they called it a bladder stone is what they called it instead of a kidney stone. And I'm assuming they're probably historically correct on what they're talking about. But I know that I watched the old show Deadwood, which was another series that I really liked. And that guy had a kidney stone and he was trying to pass it and just, basically now they can give you pain medicine anyways for it. Unless they surgically have to go in to get it. But man, what a shitty life.
Yeah.
People didn't live a long time there.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
What?
No, I thought you were fixing to ask a question. Oh, you looked at me like you were fixing to ask a question. So
I was just going to say, I wish I watched more movies, more content. But people always assume that I'm like super big into movies and actors and stuff. And at the end of the day, I'm a musician and I'd rather be doing music. And
who's the best guitar player of all time? You said you're a musician, so I'm asking you the hard one.
I know, but that's like asking, what's your favorite football player of all time? Like,
okay, give me top 5 guitar players of all time. Any genre.
Jack White.
I don't even know who that is.
Really?
No.
White Stripes.
Oh, okay. Okay, but yeah, I don't listen. Okay.
He's my favorite because of like the whole aesthetic, and he's not great technically, but I love what he does. I mean, Jimi Hendrix, I love him. I was really into B.B. King for a while. On the spot, I can't remember names, so thank you.
Eddie Van Halen.
Oh, his who's his son? His new band is called Mammoth. Oh my God, he's incredible, and he does it all himself. All his studio recordings is him playing every instrument. He's awesome.
See, I think Eddie's the greatest ever, but I'm very biased because I love Van Halen. Andy's a Prince guy. Prince is a hell of a musician. There's no doubt about it. Stevie Ray Vaughan was a great guitar player. Jimi Hendrix. I mean, there's been a lot of good ones and there's guys that are great that nobody even knows who they are hardly.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Have you heard? He's a Memphis guy, Eric Gales.
No.
He's incredible. Look him up. He does the whole Jimi Hendrix thing, like backwards guitar, but he's a lot more bluesy. He's incredible. He's from Memphis. He has a brother, I think, who's either a drummer or bass player who's equally incredible, less known but still incredible. We have a really interesting like musician scene here because a lot of these guys grow up in church, and in that gospel church world they'll like rotate instruments, and every one of them can just rip through whatever they're playing at a high level, and it's all like just like innate talent. They just grew up around it.
So now, do you think that is vinyl so a superior quality to what CD or not
digital.
CDs, digital? What we have now, like on our phones?
That's an interesting question. I would say there's more fidelity in the digital realm. The thing about analog that's unique and so vibey is that just the way the frequencies are reproduced naturally, organically. So like the medium of vinyl, there's high frequencies that are kind of lost in translation because to get that needle to move, like higher frequencies vibrate at a much faster rate, making them perceivably smaller, where like lower frequencies have like big movements, right? So that's why, like, if you have a vinyl player, you don't put your record player on top of a subwoofer because all that low end will actually move the needle more. So when you're pressing vinyl, the lower the tone, the more movement it gets. So some of that's naturally lost. I mean, there's still a ton of clarity in vinyl. Like, don't get me wrong, but like, it's just because of that natural response of that medium, and tape has a different response. It has its own sound, more or less, whereas like digital is perfect, but that doesn't mean it's good. That doesn't mean it's better.
Right.
It's just, it's ones and zeros replicating every frequency across the spectrum at the same way. Where analog, it's like there's a interaction of the medium and the frequency, and then whatever system you're putting it through. I mean, I love it. I love sound. I love vibey things. I have a little home studio, and recently picked up a 4-track cassette recorder from the early 90s and have been messing around with that, recording songs to it from buddies. We'll do some super vibey stuff, and then you capture that playback. So now it's been imprinted on tape, then you capture that playback digitally, and now you have like a real tape influenced sound on your recording. Super nerdy.
That's crazy. I was talking to a guy, and he was so excited. It was a couple years ago, but he was so excited he got Zach Bryan on vinyl, and that was how he was going to spend his Friday night. Was he was going to put Zach Bryan on vinyl and drink whiskey and smoke a cigar. But he loves vinyl. And I think, the guy loves vinyl, and I think it was like $75 he paid for this record, and teach their own.
What do you think about the AI music?
Huh?
What do you think about the AI music? Like we went somewhere the other day and a guy put some music into it, and it's scary that it wasn't that bad. It was a stupid song, but it wasn't that bad.
No, it's not. And it's like anything that AI creates, I think it's characterless, like, because it's all it's doing is you're training it with all these, whether it's books, papers, songs, like you're training it, and it's basically spitting out something that's a sum of all those parts, which isn't a true creation. It's is amalgamation the right word? It's like the kitchen sink of what's already been released. It's nothing new. It's a soulless, like, it may be catchy, but it's also like there's nothing, there's no heart in it. There's no like quirks. There's no personality. It's like, this is perfectly a pop song, or like that big band, the AI band on Spotify, right? That whole recent scandal where they had millions of streams and people started looking into them. Turns out it was an AI band, but the music was fine. But it's like, it lacks character. It lacks humanity. It lacks uniqueness. It's just spitting out what's been done before.
But that's kind of scary, because if you look at like the TikTok fad that we're in, a lot of the content that people are consuming are these like empty calorie type content.
100%. I honestly, all that stuff is mind numbing to me, and I don't have TikTok. I have to interact with it for work, and that's fine, and all the other socials, and that's fine. But it's just, and I think, not to get on a soapbox here, but like, I tried to do the YouTube thing at the beginning of this year and make a channel and do some videos, and kind of through that research of like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do it? And seeing all these other platforms, and what they're talking about is like what's going to be popular or how you should do stuff. Like, I think we are also seeing a big movement of people realizing they've lost reality, and they want that back. And so like all the stuff you're starting to see on YouTube that's popular again, YouTube's promoting small channels. They're encouraging people to be more real and authentic. They've just banned AI, like, generated content. So you can't put something that's like 100% AI on YouTube anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's like I'm hoping we've swung so far one way of like AI is taking over everything and can do everything, like we have to not swing. Hopefully we don't swing. Well, I wouldn't mind if we swung back the other way, but that's not possible. But I think we're starting to swing back into, okay, so that's not great. It works, but how can we make it work for us? How can we still be in touch? How can we still be real? How can we have true human interactions again? Because all this technology is very isolating. And so now we're hopefully people are like, I want even a hint of something real. Let's figure out ways to reconnect. Let's figure out ways to, present things authentically, not overproduced. And I love a good production, but I also love something that's very raw and honest, just shot on your phone. I don't like people telling me about their lives. Like, I don't want to watch somebody on YouTube just like going through their day, but I love like authentic moments of, even if I'm looking up how to do something, I still want it to be done. I don't want it to be like a movie production. Just tell me how to do this thing.
Right.
And then let me do it.
Yeah.
So
you're hopeful. I don't know. I don't know. I'm like you though. I hope that the pendulum is swinging back in the manner of like actual humans and, like you said, having these real raw moments. But I don't know. There's just a bunch of people that are addicted to empty calories right now.
Well, for sure, and we'll always have that.
Yeah.
But I think we're just in this explosive growth moment, and we need to figure out how to live with it, and in a way that like makes sense. Because like, again, another soapbox. AI could be scary.
Yeah.
AI. I've watched videos lately talking about the future of AI and where it could go, and like we've seen these movies, we know what happens. So, like, what are we going to do about it? And hopefully we're able to get to a place where it's safe. It's a tool, something that makes us better, I guess, is ultimately what I'm hopeful for.
I don't think we can put the genie back in the bottle, and I think we've got some major problems with AI coming. I think that it's funny, but Hollywood, a lot of times, when I say Hollywood, I'm just talking about the movie industry in general and entertainment industry. A lot of times they set a precedence of shit that really happens. I mean, you can look at so many things. Now, I don't expect we're going to have Optimus Prime turn in from an 18-wheeler into something that's attacking, but
that'd be sick.
But these drones and shit that these people are using, like over in Ukraine and Russia, and these wars with they're blowing up stuff. I think we're going to be dealing with a lot of that in our own country, and I don't think there's much to prevent it, and it's scary to me. It really is. I think we've got technology. We're not using technology for the right things, I think we're using it for evil more than good. It's a shame we can't put some of these brains that's developing AI and come up with a cure for cancer or Lou Gehrig's disease or things like that, instead of a way to make a drone blow up a car, or you know what I mean?
Well, I saw somebody liken it back to what Oppenheimer did when he was developing the nuclear bomb. Like, he knew it was wrong, or could be wrong, could be used in horrible ways,
and he knew you could never come back.
Yep. Once I'm here, like, we're not closing this again. So
it's amazing history-wise to think about that there has not been another atomic bomb, nuclear weapon, whatever you want to call it, since 1946. That really, if you would have told me in 1946 that we dropped that bomb here, that in 2025 we would not have nobody else would use one, I would have said there's no way in this world that we live in. Because World War II was just 20 years after World War I. And it's the people that have them have had enough resistance to not use them in restraint. Thank God.
Well,
for sure.
I just read recently that I think Amazon by 2030 they're going to be totally driverless on all of their home deliveries.
How are they going to get them to the porch? Everything's going to be a drone?
I don't know, but it's going to be a fully autonomous vehicle basically, and they're not going to have any humans dropping your packages off.
I don't.
And
they got these little robots that they'll bring to neighborhoods.
Right.
Robots will go out to the neighborhoods.
Well, and I think they're also going to be all of their packaging centers. They're all going to be robots. You'll have like a foreman or whatever to make sure shit doesn't go off the rails too bad. But it's all those jobs
Gone.
People packing up Amazon packages. It's going to be gone. And they said by 2030 they're hoping to roll all this out.
Do y'all have same day Amazon delivery in Memphis?
No.
Some places have same day.
I experienced that in Atlanta, and it was awesome. But no, we have 1 day here, and it's barely. Usually, it's like, oh, your package is delayed.
Ours is 2 days. I buy a lot of stuff from Amazon. As much as I'm against a lot of things, it's just more, especially living out here in Hooterville when we did. I just bought some new chairs for the dining room the other day. I ordered 15 chairs. We ordered them yesterday. They'll be here on Tuesday. So it's going to take me 6 days to get them. Well, you can't go to Abilene or Wichita Falls and go anywhere and buy them. I mean, so I have to order them from somewhere. So Amazon makes sense. It's free delivery.
Yeah,
and they're just convenient. And I noticed
surprised you're getting it sooner. I guess Texas is big.
The what now?
Well, I'm surprised you're not getting them sooner. You said it's taking 6 days from Amazon.
Well, yeah, but I don't know where they're coming from. I ordered them yesterday. It was Wednesday, and they're supposed to be here Tuesday. They don't deliver Saturday, Sunday, so it's 4 days. They'll be here in 4 days.
Oh.
But it's a special deal because whatever else, I ordered some other stuff that'll be here today or tomorrow, today or Monday. But the chairs is coming from a different supplier. It's going to take a while, I guess. They shrink around. I don't know what they do, but anyways, Wichita Falls just built a big Amazon center. I think Abilene's getting one, and it makes you wonder if they're not putting all these centers in all these towns, if they're not all going to have same day, either through drone deliveries or through robots that you're saying. It's
That's
just
crazy.
It's wild world.
It's crazy that we're going to take people out of the equation because I already get frustrated when I've got to call and talk. We have one of our internet providers has been out for a week since we had a storm or something. I don't know what happened, but I had to call yesterday. Well, I talked to a lady in Bangladesh or somewhere, and sure enough, I'm like, listen, lady, I have restarted my router. I've unplugged everything 15 freaking times. I need a technician to come out. Well, sir, I've got to walk through these steps. I said, whatever steps you're going to ask me, I've done. I've done this over the last 10 years. I've done this multiple times. I got to have a technician. So I argued with her for 30 minutes. She goes, well, I can get a technician to come out tomorrow. Thank you. That's what I wanted to do 30 minutes ago, and it's just a pain in the ass. I can't imagine dealing with AI and having nobody to talk to.
Oh, no, that's going to be miserable. It's like going through a fully automated car wash and your $5 bill you get just stuck in is.
Yeah, there's nobody there to help you.
You can't do it. You just lost it. Okay.
Yeah.
Come back later.
The industry we're in, I don't see AI affecting our industry in the hunting world at all. I can't imagine having an AI robot guide. I can't imagine any of that going on. There's going to be some industries that's not going to deal. But I would have never, ever guessed we would be seeing trucking companies using driverless trucks.
It's coming.
That's crazy. I mean, yeah. All it would take is one accident to.
Oh, it'll happen.
Right.
But can you, I'm not comfortable seeing an 18-wheeler driving down the road carrying a bulldozer on the back with no driver.
No way.
And they're going to go 2,000 miles across the country.
What?
There's no way in hell.
Yeah, they're going to do it.
Just telling you.
We were in Mexico this summer for my wife's 40th. Took her to Oaxaca City, and I gotta admit, I think some of this progress we're doing in America is very cultural. It's not like a human thing. Maybe it is a little bit, but in Oaxaca, they take pride in what they do. They take pride in their community having jobs, and they don't have mechanical street sweepers. We were walking around early one morning, and there's literally people sweeping the street, and that's their livelihood, and they're happy, and the city's beautiful. It's safe, and people are still empowered to do all these things that in America, we probably have a machine for.
Well, pride is what you said that separates it. You know what I mean? Like a long time ago, we always talk about Andy Griffith. Like if you look back at that show, you know, if you were the grocery store manager, you took pride in your grocery store. You know, you were out sweeping the stoop and you were out making sure that your can labels are all facing the right way. So you took pride in what you did. And I think that is lost a lot in America in a lot of jobs. You know, there's jobs that aren't sexy and people, you know, they don't think that they're not desirable jobs. So nobody takes pride in doing them.
Yeah.
How was the food down there?
Amazing.
I love Mexico.
Some didn't live up to the hype, but most of it, I mean, we went to nice restaurants. We went to like 2-star Michelin restaurants, and it was like $100 for both of us, which was incredible. And we went to street vendors. We went to, you know, hole in the wall restaurants. But I think it goes back to that pride thing. Everybody took pride in how they made their food. Most of it was made that morning, purchased that morning from a market. The tortillas were rolled that day by, you know, the grandma of the family. And it was just, yeah, everything was really well done.
I love eating Mexican street food. You just got to worry about drinking and getting ice. That's the whole thing. Drink bottled water and don't have nothing with ice in it unless you know for sure it comes from a filtered process. But the dang food is absolutely amazing.
Yep. We didn't get sick once, and everywhere we went, like they presented us with bottled water. And I mean, I'd imagine that if they drink the water, they're going to get sick as well.
I think their system gets used to it because if not, everybody in India would be dead.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know.
I follow somebody on videos and they eat street food in India, and I'm like, well, you're a brave soul right there. I mean, you got a guy with no shoes on and sandals, ain't cut his toenails in 3 months, and he's sitting Indian style and he's mixing up food in front of you, and there's no way. I'm like, and the smell's got to be horrendous. But I love Mexico. Absolutely love Mexico. The food, the people are amazing. It's good people. Yep. And I think you're right. I think a lot of times we've gotten so advanced as a society and we've forgotten where we come from, and we get caught. And it's expensive to live here anymore. It's so expensive, groceries and everything. And those places down there are so much cheaper, but they take pride in what they have. And as a country, we don't do that anymore. And that's a shame. That's sad.
Well, we always want it to be better, or how can we advance this?
Yeah,
sometimes it doesn't need to be.
No, we've screwed up. We could have kept where we're at.
Yeah. Well,
Chris, we appreciate you being on here, bud. We've went for an hour and 45 minutes. You're a very interesting man. I can't wait to see you next year, and I will.
Yeah, likewise.
So you don't hunt at all, do you?
I don't. I didn't grow up that way. I've been on 2 duck hunts since working for Ducks Unlimited, and they were fantastic.
David and Jimbo take you out?
Maybe. Well, hopefully.
You need to get David and Jimbo take you out. Good guys. Anyways, I appreciate y'all so much. Y'all are a great partner with us and Ducks Unlimited, and y'all are good people and sure interesting people, and they've put a hell of a team together there. And I'll thank you again for being on here. God bless you and have a great year.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
We appreciate you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Interesting gentleman.
Man's lived it. Cool life.
It is, and that's just such a cool deal. I knew that about the guy that was a horse's ass because he told me about that in Memphis, so I thought that's why I was going to ask. I didn't know if he'd tell about it on here, but if you're an asshole, you're an asshole. All right, thank y'all for listening to us. God bless you. Have a great week. See ya. Bye.
Watch for deer. Check out all of our great sponsors. Go check out Ducks Unlimited, Pacific Calls. Use our promo code BHP25, Boss Shot Shells, Dive Bomb Industry, Dirty Duck Coffee, Shin Gear, Looking Glass Podcast, Lucky Duck, Mossberg, Stanfield Outfitters, Mallard Bay, and Mitchell Chevrolet.